Let me be completely honest with you. Most people don't fail at fat loss because they don't know what to do. They fail because they try to do it too fast and end up quitting halfway through. And that's exactly why I want to break this video into something most people never hear. Not just how to get from 24% body fat to 10% body fat, but how to actually stay consistent long enough to get there without crashing, rebounding, or destroying your relationship with food. Because here's the truth no one really talks about. Getting lean isn't hard for a week, it's hard for months. And the people who succeed aren't the ones who diet the hardest, they're the ones who diet the smartest for long enough. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a realistic timeline from around 24% body fat all the way down to 10%, step by step. And why should you listen to me? I've helped over 1,000 men lose the body fat and build muscle and also sustain it. And I'll also show you a real client transformation from my client Ryan, who lost 12.8 kg in 28 weeks while keeping his muscle and actually improving how he looked week by week. And most importantly, I'm going to show you why sustainable fat loss is always more important than speed, even if that means slower progress on the scale. So yeah, let's get into it. Before we even talk about phases, we need to clear something up. Most people start fat loss like this. They look in the mirror, decide they want to change, and immediately go into extreme mode. Low calories, extra cardio, no carbs, all or nothing mindset. And yes, in the first 7 to 10 days, it feels amazing. The scale drops quickly, you feel lighter, you feel disciplined. But what's actually happening is a lot of that early weight loss is just water, glycogen, and food volume changes. And then reality hits. Progress slows, hunger increases, energy drops, social life gets harder. And that's usually when people fall into one or two traps. They either quit completely or they rebound and binge because the diet was too aggressive to maintain. So instead of thinking, how fast can I lose fat? You need to think, how long can I stay consistent without breaking? That shift alone changes everything. So phase one is going from 24% body fat to 20% body fat, which usually takes around 8 to 10 weeks. The first phase is where most people feel the most motivated because progress comes relatively quickly. You tighten up your nutrition, you start tracking your food, you become more active, and the scale usually responds quite fast. But again, part of this is just initial water loss. And here's where most people mess up in this phase. They get excited and think this rate will continue forever. It won't. And this is where consistency starts getting tested. Weekdays might be fine, but weekends, that's where everything usually falls apart. A few drinks here, a takeaway there, missing meals, not tracking properly, and suddenly your deficit disappears without you even realizing it. So the goal in phase one is not perfection, it's structure. You want to lock in a consistent calorie target you can actually stay consistent to, high protein every day, basic step count or activity target, a training routine you don't keep changing, because right now you're not trying to be extreme, you're building identity. You're becoming someone who doesn't start and stop diets, you're someone who follows a system. And if you do this properly, you can realistically move from around 24% to 20% body fat in roughly 8 to 10 weeks without feeling like you're suffering. Now, phase two is moving from 20% to 16% body fat, which will usually take about 10 to 13 weeks. This is where fat loss starts to feel slower. And this is where most people mentally break because the beginner momentum is gone. Your body has adapted, the scale doesn't move as fast, and suddenly you start questioning everything. Is this working anymore? Should I cut calories more? Do I need more cardio? And this is where most people usually make a huge mistake. They slash calories aggressively, but that rarely works long term. Instead, what usually happens is they feel worse, their training performance drops, hunger increases, and eventually they snap back into overeating. This is where sustainable fat loss becomes crucial because the goal isn't to suffer more, it's to adjust smarter. So instead of extreme restriction, you focus on slight calorie adjustments if needed, increase in daily movement like steps, keeping protein high to protect muscle, maintaining strength training performance. This phase is really about patience, not excitement, not motivation, patience. Because your body is now learning this is the new normal. And if you can stay consistent here for 10 to 13 weeks, you start to see noticeable visual changes. Waist comes in tighter, face gets leaner, definition starts growing in your shoulders, in your arms. But again, the key difference between people who succeed and fail here is simple. Successful people don't try to force faster results. They solve problems without abandoning the plan. Then phase three is 16% to 10 to 12% body fat, which will take about 14 to 16 plus weeks. This is the hardest phase, not physically, mentally, because this is where things feel like they slow down the most. You're already fairly lean. you're seeing definition, people might even notice your progress, but internally you might feel stuck. This is what I call the limbo phase. You're not the old version of yourself anymore, but you're not fully at the goal yet either. This is where most people quit, not because they can't do it, but because they get impatient. They expect the final stage to be fast. But in reality, the leaner you get, the slower fat loss becomes. And here's the truth. This is where discipline matters less than problem solving, because obstacles will show up. Fat loss slows, hunger fluctuates, motivation drops, social events interfere, training feels more demanding, and the people who succeed are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They're the ones who keep adjusting without quitting. They zoom out. They don't panic over one bad day. They don't restart. They just continue because they understand something that most people don't. You don't get lean from perfect weeks. You get lean from imperfect weeks that still move forward. Now, let me show you what this actually looks like in real life. One of my clients, Ryan, is a perfect example of this process done properly. When Ryan came in, he already had years of training experience. He was training consistently for 5-6 days a week for around 5 years. So he wasn't a beginner. He had built a solid amount of muscle over time, but over the years, his body fat had slowly crept up alongside it. His goal wasn't just to lose weight, it was to improve his overall body composition. Lean down while keeping the muscle he had spent years building. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think cutting means losing muscle, but that only happens when the process is poorly structured. So for Ryan, the focus was simple. We kept his protein intake high to protect lean tissue. We structured his training so he was still progressively overloading week to week, and we made sure the calorie deficit was controlled. It was not extreme. No crash dieting, no extreme cardio phases, no shortcuts, just consistency. And over 28 weeks, Ryan lost 12.8 kilograms, but more importantly, he didn't look smaller. He looked more defined, more athletic, more confident. And the biggest reason for his success wasn't a secret trick or perfect genetics. It was consistency. Week after week, even when progress slowed, even when motivation dipped, even when life got busy, he stuck to the system. And that's what actually drives the transformation. So if there's one thing I want you to take from this video, it's this. Fat loss is not a race. It's a process of becoming someone who can actually sustain the habits required to stay lean long term. And the people who win aren't the ones who diet the hardest for 2 weeks. They're the ones who can diet at a manageable level for months. So instead of asking, how can I lose this weight? Start asking, how can I make this so consistent that I can't fail? Because when consistency becomes your identity, the result takes care of itself. And if you want, I can break down exactly what calories you should start with at your body fat level, how to structure a fat loss training plan without losing muscle, or what to do when your weight loss stalls for 2+ weeks. Simply just drop a comment below with where you're currently stuck. And if this helped you, make sure you subscribe, because the next videos will go deeper into building a physique you can actually maintain, not just achieve. And if you want to discuss your goals in a bit more depth and potentially be coached by me one-to-one, then click the link below, watch the video and book a strategy call with me. If not, all good, and I'll see you in the next video.